Yes guys, what is happening? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. So we're back in the gym today. It is pull day and I believe I haven't been in to record pull for the YouTube since the very first session of prep that I would have been recorded. So it's been a while. Not much will have changed in terms of like the exercises, one or two small little tweaks here or there. Session structure is still very similar. However, we're not doing biceps on pull day today. So a little bit of a shorter session, which I've really been liking, to be honest, because back is an area that I need to focus on and I need to bring up quite a lot. So when I know I'm coming into the gym and I've got a slightly shorter session because I've only got back and rear delts to do, I can kind of take a little bit more rest time in between my sets. I can kind of make sure I'm, giving the session, giving the start of the session a little bit more time and a little bit more attention because it actually needs that. So we've made a couple of other tweaks to my training. Initially post-show, I was working in similar rep ranges that I'd always work in, a heavy top set, and then I'd up the rep range for the back off sets. We've recently changed my rep ranges now to be pretty much 8 to 10 across the board. So it's been working very well for other body parts so far. And I think for pull, it's going to be a game changer because I definitely think I need to maybe go on the heavier side when it comes to training pull. I've been I've kind of fallen into the trap a little bit of being very slow, very controlled, very methodical with my form over the last couple of years. And I think with pull, you just need to grip it and rip it a little bit more. So that's kind of what you'll see today. Not being too sloppy. We're still going to make sure we're being very accurate across the board. We're going to work in a lower rep range. We're going to lift as heavy as we possibly can with accuracy. And we're going to try and grow a big back, guys. So I'll take you through today's session. Stay tuned, follow along. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new here, guys. There's still like 55% of you who have not subscribed to the channel. So if you want to learn some good information, make sure you subscribe and you don't miss out on future videos. Right, let's get stuck into it. I'll do quite a lot of warm-ups for this first exercise because this is the very first exercise of the session. Generally, as the session goes on, especially for back, I don't really do that many warm-ups because I just find it kind of takes away from my endurance and my strength on those top sets. Very beginning of the session though, I'll always do quite a lot of warm-ups, especially on single arm lat work. I just feel super cold and super stiff when I first come into the gym. So I'll probably touch like 3 different loads on this, maybe even 4, before I go into my heavy working top set on this. Alright guys, first exercise here, we're starting off with a single arm lat pull down. So I place my lat work at the beginning of my sessions because my lats are weaker. If your upper back is weaker than your lats, put your upper back work first. So your exercise sequence doesn't matter. In my opinion, yes, you should arguably always start with the body parts that you are trying to bring up. So for me, when it comes to back, that is going to be my lats. As an extension of that, I will always try and start my sessions off with some single arm work rather than bilateral work, as I just find, number one, it's better for alignment, and number two, you're going to be a little bit stronger at the start of the session doing single arm work rather than at the end of the session. So I saved the bilateral work for second in the session, single arm work for the very beginning. We're starting off now with the lats. What you'll find with your back work is that one side is going to be stronger than the other. It's probably going to be your dominant side. Like I write with my right hand, so my right side is going to be a little bit stronger. And over the years of doing bilateral back work, you'll find that your stronger side takes over a little bit from your weaker side. So when you're doing single arm work, one side is going to be a little bit stronger than the other. That is completely normal. However, what I would recommend is if you're doing a single arm lat pull down like this, start with your weaker side, okay? Now you're still going to try and go to failure on both sides, in my opinion, but start with that weaker side first to make sure that more of the energy and more of the attention is going to that weaker side, and then just try and match the reps and the execution on that stronger side. A rep up there. A little bit sloppy there on that one, but I'm aiming for strength. Aiming for strength on that one. I'll clean it up on the 2 back offsets that I have to do. Still working in an 8 to 10 rep range there though, and this is the first session where I'm going to be doing 8 to 10s across every single set on this. So I'm going to have to change my numbers quite a lot, right? That's what I've found in my last couple of sessions. From doing a back offset of 12 to 15 reps, it's very, very different doing a back offset of 8 to 10 reps. Because I'm going to be able to lift way heavier, right? And normally when I do my back offsets, I always aim for the top of the rep range rather than the bottom of the rep range. So I'll generally hit like a 13 or a 14 rather than hitting like an 11 or a 12, right? So I'll have to go a little bit heavier across the board here today, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. And I don't think it's going to be a bad thing for my training overall, that I'm going to just be going much heavier across the board on every single body part. So we'll see how we respond. I am a bit more of a fan of higher rep work, but I've been doing higher rep work and prioritizing that for such a long period of time that maybe this novel stimulus, I suppose you could call it, will actually help a lot in my progression. So it'll be interesting to see. And this is why I like bodybuilding, guys, because like I would have never done this only for Kuba just said, let's give this a try. And I gave it a try, and now I've done it for like a week, and I'm like, you know what, I'm kind of liking this so far. I never would have done it otherwise, unless he suggested it. So it just goes to show that like you shouldn't get pigeonholed in any one approach when it comes to your training, your rep ranges, your diet, your drugs. You shouldn't just stick to the one thing that's always worked for you, because this mightn't have worked well for me 2 years ago, but it might work really well for me now, you know? So what served you well in the past might not serve you as well now. And what didn't work for you well in the past might work for you even better now that you have more experience and you have more time and more skin in the game. So, food for thought, guys. Oh, that was a little bit more difficult now than I anticipated. 2 heavy sets on that. I'll have to go a little bit lighter now for this 3rd set, I think, and just try and be like super, super accurate. Because they were a little bit too grippy and rippy for me. But I'm used to just being so accurate on this piece. So it's definitely a little bit different. But I can still feel it. You can still feel the pump in my lats. Might be the Conte Sports Mega Pump though, guys. Might be. So Andrew's just asked me off camera there about my warm-up sets and how many warm-up sets do I actually do as the session goes on to make me feel like I'm prepared for that exercise. And it's kind of exactly that. I just do literally the bare minimum that I need to do to almost like just get into the rhythm with the movement. You know, I feel like after that first exercise, my back is already fully warm, because even though that's a lat-based exercise, it's still working my whole entire back, right? So I'll go into the T-bar row now, and genuinely, I do not want to waste much energy on this because it's a big compound movement. So I'll just do enough reps to just get a feel and a rhythm for like what I'm trying to achieve, right? Which is elbows back, keeping my chest up, etc., etc. So I do enough reps just to get into the rhythm of the movement, no more, no less. I think of all of the exercises that I do execution analysis for with my clients, the single arm lat pull down is probably the 2nd most butchered exercise after the barbell or the elbow. Let's not get into that. That could be a whole full entire video in itself. Any of my clients watching this, you'll know your pain and my pain. But anyway, getting back to the single arm lat pull down. So when doing this, guys, right, the intention needs to be elbow into the hip, okay? That's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to drive that elbow into the pocket, because in here, that's where you're going to get that contraction from your lat. So what you're not trying to do is just drag your hand towards you, okay? That's what I commonly see. People are just grabbing that D handle or the handle of the machine and they're just pulling, right? They're just pulling the elbow back and they're pulling the hand towards them. You gotta make sure you're pulling with the elbow, and the elbow does not travel back behind the body. This, you're just gonna hit rear delts, you're just gonna hit upper back, okay? So we want the upper arm to finish parallel to our torso and with the elbow into the hip. So if it finishes there, right, you're gonna be at a right angle with your upper arm and your forearm. So I always give that kind of a guideline to clients when it comes to training their lats. On a pull down or a row, you want your upper arm and your forearm to be at a right angle, okay? On a row, boom, your arm's gonna be here. On a pull down, boom, your arm's gonna be here. Your fist should not be tucked into your chest, okay? Your fist should be away from your body here. Try and think about pulling the fist down in front of the body. That will help you to keep your elbow in at your hip. That's absolutely key. So if you're watching this, guys, and you struggle connecting with your lats, right? Always just think pull with the elbow into the hip. Hip, hip, hip. If the elbow isn't getting right into the hip, you're just not going to be getting that contraction. Right. So that's my first 2 warm-ups there. 1 plate, I just did 5 reps. 2 plates, I did 2 reps. 3 plates, I'll probably just do 1 rep. And then I'll just work. So what's that, 8 reps total? That's literally it, that's all I need. And I think, depending on the exercise, I might do a little bit more, I might do a little bit less. That generally kind of tends to be how I kind of go through my warm-ups. Now, it's going to vary from person to person. You don't have to just copy me and do what I do for my warm-ups. Just do whatever you need to do for you to feel ready and for you to feel warm to do that exercise. Oh, feeling a little bit out of breath today, guys, in between my sets. I think it's just the body weight catching up with me. I'm 11 weeks post-show now, and I'm 11 kg up in body weight, so I'm only about 3 or 4 kg off my all-time heaviest, and at this stage, I'm probably not going to feel too fit, let's say, in and outside of the gym. So the endurance is dipping a little bit, but that's okay. And I think it's important to note, guys, that because I am approaching my peak body weight, right? Once I do get to that peak body weight and beyond, I'm gonna feel like shit. Anytime that you push to a new body weight, your body's never been there before, okay? So it takes a while for it to get used to that, acclimate to that, and for you to find like a new homeostasis at that weight. So when you're in your off season, guys, and you're pushing up to a new peak that you've never been before, it will take your body a while to get used to that. You will feel like shit, you will feel uncomfortable, you will wanna tap out, but that's when it's super important to push through that period and actually spend time at that weight, being super uncomfortable, so that you can build that tissue and so that you can let that tissue marinate before you cut back down, right? So that actually sticks. So pushing up to a new peak weight, guys, you're never gonna feel good, but bodybuilding is all about getting comfortable, being uncomfortable. If you wanna get big, of course. If you wanna stay small, then just tap out the second it gets uncomfortable. Oh. Oh. Beautiful. 3 reps up there. Ho, ho, ho. Unicorn stuff that is, guys, on a T-bar row. So what I just said about pushing up to a new body weight and getting comfortable, feeling uncomfortable, you'll feel like shit outside of the gym, but in the gym, you're gonna feel like you can run through walls. And that's probably the only benefit about being peak off season. Feeling like crap 24/7, but feeling like an animal when you're in the gym. It's the complete opposite of functional fitness, you know? Not like all these Hyrox hybrid guys these days. I'm sure they feel mega 24/7, but we just feel mega when we're in the gym. We're only good for one thing, and that's lifting heavy weights. Someday I'll get back to being a little bit more functional though. Do you know I used to be like a endurance athlete? Yeah, I used to run, I used to cycle like quite a lot. Like long distance cycling. I did like a couple actual like bike races on the road, believe it or not. And now I'm only on half the amount of drugs that Lance Armstrong was on. So imagine what I could do on the bike these days if I just fucking whacked the drugs out of it. Because I was natty back then and I was fucking pretty quick, mind you. So fill me up with a load of EPO and just send me on the bike again. Love it. I definitely will do that. Like when I retire from bodybuilding, I'll go back to like endurance sports, cycling, running. But I'll just fucking dope up out of my mind 100%. Won't be taking as much drugs as I am now. Like a small little bit of anabolics and sprinkle of growth hormone, couple of peptides. Yeah, be sick, be sick. Pump covers coming off, boys. Hopefully there's not any nip slips today. Oh, oops. Said the pump cover's coming off. Hopefully there's not any nip slips today. Because I'm a little bit chunkier than the last time I was wearing this, that's for sure. Absolutely love this exercise. I mean, I really love this for upper back rows, but for a single arm lat row here, lat bias row, absolutely unbelievable. I don't know what it is. I just love this. It just feels immense. You can overload it quite a lot in the length and the range, so I feel like the resistance profile is just fucking mint. Like it's super heavy here in the stretch, and it's just easy to lock out. It's just, feels unbelievable. So much better than like a single arm cable row, because on a single arm cable row, it's like very even resistance, so it's just a lot heavier in the stretch here, and it just, I don't know, I feel like I get a lot out of this, so big fan. Where you can with your back work, guys, I'd always try and find something, chest support or something that you can use to brace yourself, right? It's a lot easier for me here to try and pull my elbow into my pocket and engage with my lats when I'm really sturdy, right? My feet are stable on the ground. I can push my shins up against this push my chest up against this, I can brace off this. So everything else stays super stable, and all I have to worry about is just pulling my elbow to my pocket, right? If I was stood up and I was trying to do like a single arm dumbbell row, for example, I've got all this stabilization going on. I'm using so much else like in my body, in my physique, just to try and stabilize, let alone trying to focus on contracting through my lat. So where you can, I'd always opt for anything chest supported or just anything where you can brace yourself really, really well and be very stable, right? The more stable you can be on any given exercise, the more force you're going to be able to generate and produce to the target muscle. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad thing to do exercises that require a lot of stability. They definitely have their place as well. But I think for me, trying to grow my lats, I definitely need to make sure it's just my lat doing all the heavy lifting on this one. Oh, beautiful. Yeah, the 8 to 10s are proving to be a little bit more difficult than I anticipated today. Oh, today is a lot of heavy pulling and heavy rowing, so I feel like the lighter rep sets are a little bit easier going normally on this. This would be a little bit more fatiguing today, I reckon, but fuck it. We're lifting heavy weight, we're growing, I hope. That's why my body weight has come up so much in the last 11 weeks, like 11 kg in 11 weeks. And that's not been through like lack of trying to keep my body weight down or keep my composition tidy. I mean, my composition is still tidy, like I'm not out of shape, but my body weight has come up way more than I thought I would. So I don't know, am I just getting really fat really quick because my body isn't responding the way it normally does? Or am I just building shitloads of tissue? I hope I'm building shitloads of tissue. I really hope I am, because otherwise, fuck me, it's going to be a long prep next year. But alright guys, so for that last exercise, single arm lat row, you'll see that I didn't do any warm-ups at all. I just dove in, straight in, no kissing. But for this prime seated row, this is an upper back row and it's almost like a little bit of a shrug. So very different to what we've done before. So I will actually touch this once or twice. Again, just to do a little bit of a warm-up, but also just to kind of get into the rhythm with this movement before I go into my heavier top sets here. So for this exercise in particular, guys, I do actually like to use my hard body hard grips. So for any back exercises where I have to kind of reach or overextend to grab the bar, grab the machine, I do prefer to use these because I don't have to like wrap them up and kind of overreach, and it can be a little bit difficult. These are very easy to just slip around the bar and grab like this. So for anyone who doesn't like the conventional normal wrist wraps, these are going to be your best friend, honestly, because they're so quick and easy to just pop around the bar and just get pulling straight away. So I rate these highly. Any exercises, like I said, where I just can't really reach the bar, I use these for, and then I just use my standard premium hard body lifting straps for everything else. So a controversial opinion, like, well, I don't even think this should be controversial, but if you want to have a catch up with your mate, then don't come to the gym, go to a fucking coffee shop or something like that, right? Because if you're coming into the gym and you're supersetting every single exercise with 20 minutes of having the fucking laugh with your best friend, then what are you even doing in the gym in the first place, okay? If you want to have a chat before your session or after your session, by all means, do that, okay? And I know the gym can be a social place, but before and after your session, during your session, that's your time to work, okay? I see these gangs and groups of 17-year-olds, 3, 4, 5 of them, all with broccoli hair, standing and congregating around machines, just yap, 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 yap for the whole session. What are you doing? What are you doing? Just get out of the gym. Go somewhere else if you want to do that. Gym is for graft, work, making sure you're fucking actually training. So, I don't know, am I the only one who feels like that? But gym time is sacred. Gym time is for working. It is not for chatting. You want to have a training partner, then train. Oh. Oh, I think I overshot that just a touch. I could lift it I could move it, but I couldn't really contract and squeeze like I normally do on that. So it felt great in the lengthened position, felt great when I pulled it, but I couldn't really just get that last little bit out of it. So went a little bit too heavy there. I'm gonna scale back and go on the back offset. Sometimes after years and years of training, you kind of know what you're supposed to feel on an exercise. So you know whether you've overshot the load or not. Find when you're a beginner, you're just going to lift heavy and heavy and you're just going to move that load, but you're forgetting to contract, right? Like you need to focus on mind-muscle connection as well in your training and make sure that, you know, you're spending time in both ranges, but that you can actually handle that weight. Because I could handle that weight in the stretch, I could move that load easily, but I couldn't really contract it properly. So I will still put it down in my logbook. However, I'll just write in the description, went too heavy, scale back next time. So they're generally the notes that I'll leave myself, you know? Or sometimes I'll go last 2 reps sloppy, couldn't contract, etc, etc. I just leave myself a little bit of a note for the following sessions. So I still count it, but better. Much better. Proper contraction there. So something I got asked today, guys, by a client, and something I get asked all the time is, what weight do you think I'll be by the time I have abs? How many weeks is it going to take me until I'm lean enough to start the push-up? Etc, etc. Questions of this nature. Stop asking these questions, guys. These are a complete how long is a piece of string question, because I could tell one client if they lose 8 kg they're going to get abs, and I could tell another client if they lose the same amount of body weight they're going to get abs. But those two people could be completely different, and I would take them completely different next time to actually see their abs. So I don't like to give people a set body weight or a set amount of weeks for them to achieve the goal that they want, because if they then don't get to that goal in that set amount of weeks or at that set body weight, they're going to get discouraged, right? And if you've got a certain weight in your head and then you don't look the way you want to look at that weight, you're going to get very discouraged. So you need to forget about the timeline, guys. Forget about how long it's going to take. Forget about how lean you need to be. Forget about what weight you need to be. These are outcome-driven goals. You need to be process-driven. So focus on the things that you need to do to get to that outcome, not the outcome itself. I need to hit my steps. I need to prep my meals. I need to be adherent to my plan. These are the things that you need to focus on and be concerned with, not your body weight or what the scale says. Because if you step on the scales and the scales is up, you lose your shit, right? And if you could just focus on the process and taking all those daily non-negotiables, you're going to get to that goal so much quicker and less stress-free than if you're constantly just consumed with that outcome and that end goal. Ooh. Last exercise, guys. Suppose I should have probably said that. We've got our rear dead flies, reverse pec deck, So what you'll notice here on this is that I like to take a bit of a staggered stance. So I put one leg behind me, one leg in front, and I'll almost like lean into the piece of kit. All right. So that just helps me with stability. And again, when I'm working my rear delts, I'm trying to literally protract my arms as far away from my body as possible and just work like this. Okay. That's all I'm doing. I'm just bringing the elbow in line with my front delt here. Okay. I'm not bringing the elbows back and retracting the scapula and getting a bit of trap engagement. Literally just arms forward, protracted away from the body, and just working in a very short range of motion like that. That's all you need for the rear delts. What body fat percentage are you, bro? Who fucking cares? All you need to do is look at yourself in the mirror to tell what body fat percentage are you. Do you look fat in the mirror? Then you're fat. Do you look lean? You're lean. Are you lean? Are you peeled? Then you're peeled, okay? What body fat percentage you are literally has no relevance whatsoever. Why would you care? If you take your body fat percentage with a calipers, then you go and get a DEXA scan, and then you go and use the scales, it's going to tell you 3 completely different numbers, okay? We need to leave body fat percentage back in 2013 where it was popular, all right? All you need to do is look at yourself in the mirror. If you don't like what you look, if you look like you're fat, then you're fat. So whether you think you're 15% body fat or 10% body fat, nobody cares, bro, okay? Woo. Last set done. That's a wrap. Session done. So always a little bit of a shorter session without the arm work at the end. But I've seen massive benefit to just training my arms, my biceps in particular, on their own session. So I much prefer a pull day without biceps. It feels very weird. I feel like I should be going on to do my arms afterwards, but I definitely prefer it. And I have been finding that because my sessions overall are a little bit shorter, because I don't have the arm work tagged at the end of push and pull, I'm actually recovering a little bit better, you know? I feel like coming in and mentally having like shorter, more compact sessions is probably better for my recovery rather than spending fucking 2 hours in the gym absolutely hammering myself, you know? So I think the devil is in the dose, guys, and the devil is not so much in the frequency for me, but literally in the dose, right? So if I'm doing way more per session, I feel like that's much more fatiguing for me than doing things much more frequently, but at a smaller dose, right? It's like, what's gonna be more tiring? Running 5 kilometers 3 or 4 days a week, or running a marathon all at once, right? Running a marathon all at once is gonna leave you a lot more tired than just splitting that fucking marathon up into 5 kilometer runs throughout the week. Kind of a similar sort of thing when it comes to training volume. I don't know why I'm using a running analogy for a bodybuilding video and a bodybuilding fucking channel here, but you get what I'm trying to say, guys. I think that endurance talk is in my head from earlier. So that is the pull day wrapped up, guys. Week number 5 of the off season, and honestly, I've never been in this sort of position this early into a push-up. I'm almost at the biggest and heaviest that I've ever been. I'm most certainly at the strongest I've ever been across all movements. So it's going to be very interesting to see just how strong, and as a byproduct of that, just how big I can actually get in this push-up. Now, obviously, I'm going to try and keep the body composition as tidy as I possibly can, especially because I think that definitely dictates how you feel overall. I do find, guys, and this goes back to what I was saying earlier about pushing up to peak body weights, right? When you are at a new peak body weight, you're gonna feel like shit, but you will feel even shitter if you're too soft, right? If you're too out of shape. So even if I get up to my peak body weight of 111, 112 kilos, if I'm still relatively lean, I don't think I'm gonna feel anywhere near as bad as I did the previous time I was at that weight, okay? So every time you push up to a new peak body weight, you should be a little bit leaner than you were the previous time you got to that body weight. And then vice versa, when you come down in the prep scenario, you should be just as lean as you were before, but a little bit bigger and a little bit heavier, okay? So it's all about going through the phases, guys, rinsing and repeating. I can confidently say that since I've started bodybuilding, every single time I've done a diet, I've been even leaner than I was the previous diet before, but heavier. And every single time I've done a push-up, I've actually ended that push-up slightly leaner than I have before. So I might actually be heavier, but I'll be a little bit leaner. Every single time I finish an off-season, I'm always much bigger, but a little bit leaner. And that should really be the goal, guys. That is bodybuilding if you've done it correctly, and if you've managed your eating in the correct manner, and you've not just taken the piss. Gone are the days of dirty bulks, guys, okay? If you want a dirty bulk, you're just gonna get fat, you're just gonna drive your blood pressure up through the roof, you're just gonna have really, really poor blood work. I think a healthy body is a responsive body, and a lean physique is a responsive physique as well. You're gonna be more insulin sensitive, you're gonna feel better, and I think when it comes to building muscle, right, how do you build muscle in the first place? You've got to be able to get strong and progress your lifts in the gym. And it's a lot easier to do that when you're leaner, you're fresher, you're fitter, you've got a better level of endurance overall, all right? So staying leaner in the off season, you're not just doing that for Instagram, right? Or to try and look good. You're doing that because you will perform a lot better when you are a little bit leaner, okay? I know certainly for myself, the second my performance starts to dip is when I get too heavy and too fat. And that kind of set point is going to be different for different people. A lot of guys, they sit a little bit heavier and they sit a little bit softer, let's say in the off season. I'm not really one of those guys. Like for me, it's actually very difficult for me to get fat. Like even if I fucking try, I actually can't get fat. Like fat, you know what I mean? Not like bodybuilding fat where you've got abs and you know, you're calling yourself fat, but actually you're in really good shape to the average person. Not that sort of fat, you know? We're very dramatic, we're melodramatic as bodybuilders, aren't we? But yeah, that's a ramble and a half, guys, but you get what I'm trying to say there, all right? So we're 5 weeks into the push-up, hit 108 kilos yesterday. By the time I record the next video, I'm probably gonna be in and around that 111, 112 kilo mark, the biggest I've ever been. So it'll be interesting to see what I look like at that weight. Now, do I feel as fresh at this weight as I did the last time around? I don't know, I feel pretty similar, I'm not gonna lie, but I think it's been because I've gained so much so quickly since prep ended, and my body's just trying to catch up with it. You know, when I got to like 105, 106, I still felt pretty good. The last kilo or two that's come on, it's been a little bit rough, But again, I'll acclimatise to it, and I think if I can almost recombat this weight and get a little bit leaner, I should start to feel a little bit better. So we've got like 4 months, guys, of just pushing up progressively, trying to gain as much tissue as we possibly can, trying to get as strong as we possibly can. And I think as well, especially for me at this stage in my bodybuilding career / journey, you could say, making sure I don't get fucking injured, because I got a couple of niggles, a couple of little knocks in my last off season. So now that we'll be pressing a little bit more weight, I'm gonna have to be very mindful and very careful of that overall. So yeah. Alright guys, so that is a wrap for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you took some value from it. As always, make sure to drop the video a like. Make sure to leave a comment down below if you did like it. And make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new here. So guys, thank you very much. Once again, we'll catch you in the next one.